can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to LaSmith.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est Tavares qui complète le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Leur 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Monday, May 19th. The Toronto Maple Leafs played 7 last night and lost again, as they usually do in Game 7s. This group just could not get it done. And what looked like an incredible plan. I loved their plan years ago when they decided to trade Dion Phaneuf and they tried to trade Phil Kessel, and they said, you know what, let's tank without telling anyone. That's basically what we're doing. Those who were smart figured it out. They're tanking. They want the number 1 pick overall, or the best chances at it, because they want to draft Auston Matthews. They already drafted Morgan Rielly a couple of years before that, and they ended up drafting Mitch Marner, and they ended up drafting William Nylander, and altogether they thought it was, you know what, the core 4, and then they end up having another player, John Tavares, who signs as an unrestricted free agent. So now you got 1 defenseman, you got a 4. Then they ended up acquiring Ryan O'Reilly a couple of years ago and end up winning a playoff series versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, but still couldn't get it done anyway. Long story short, they won the first 2 games of the series versus the Florida Panthers, going back to Florida for Game 3. They blow a 3-1 lead in Game 3, lose that game by a score of 5-4, lose Game 4 as well, go back go back to Toronto, lose by a score of 6-1. They're down 3-2. They go to Florida. They surprise everyone by winning by a score of 2-0 and forcing a Game 7. Now you think, okay, after they won Game 6, you think, okay, you know what? This team is different. They are for real after all. They just showed an ability to come back. And last night they lay an egg and lose again in front of their fans again by a score of 6-1 again. But guess what's different this time around? 2 of those core 4 up top, and I'm talking about John Tavares and Mitch Marner, are both, as we speak right now, unrestricted free agents. Unrestricted free agents as of July 1st. So they will be. They're pending unrestricted free agents. They will be officially on July 1st. We'll see what happens there. And we're going to talk about them, because one of the themes we're going to talk about on the podcast is going to be which unrestricted free agents should the Montreal Canadiens try to go after, pursue aggressively, pursue moderately, or not waste any time on whatsoever. We'll discuss it. The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. They're a top fleet employer. As far as transport is concerned, you have to check them out. Check the career section. It's an awesome place to work. ShipEnergy.com is their website. And it's also brought to you in part by Playground. What would you do with $2.5 million? I would buy a 4-plex, a 5-plex, and a 6-plex. But anyway, that's just me. But anyway, it's time to find out at Playground. Every hour you play poker earns you entries into their multi-millionaire Maker promotion. Join them June 1st from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. for hourly draws and your chance to pick 5 lucky cards. Hit a royal flush and you'll instantly win $2.5 million. Visit playground.ca for details. Without further ado, from Global TV Montreal, Brian Wilde, how are you?
I am very well. The core 4, I heard you mention. Some would say the core poor.
That's a pretty good one. More the core poor today than the core 4. Yeah. But you never like to take happiness and someone else's sorrow. But that's you're not supposed to. But I listen. I'm guilty, I guess, because You know, Toronto deserves to go far. They do, going forward, because they've suffered for such a long time, of course. But I don't think, too many in Montreal are going to cry once again for their shortcomings. It is what it is. But if you would have told me they would have lost last night, I would have believed you. If you would have told me they would have lost 6-1 again, I would not have believed that. But I guess we should have believed it, right? It's hard to say the word choke because they lost against the defending Stanley Cup champions, who are a great team, but they clearly froze in the moment, Brian. There's no other way to explain it.
I think they lost the series because of their mentality in Game 3. When you're up 3-1 and you manage to lose that game in overtime, I think they were mentally already beaten. And they had some good moments after it, Game 6, obviously. But apart from that, there was nothing but bad moments since leading 3-1 in Game 3. Had a lot of bad moments in Game 3. Had really bad moments in Game 4. Terrible moments in Game 5. Somehow put it together in Game 6, and then more terrible moments. Man. When we talk overall, though, Tony, here's the thing that I always think about, because I know that everybody out there is like, well, why would you be interested in John Tavares and Mitch Marner? They didn't get it done again. But here's the thing, and I'm going to say it in terms of this and see if everybody understands me. It's the chicken or the egg, right? It's a real chicken and egg philosophy sort of moment, because is it that it's everything surrounding Toronto that means that Marner and Tavares can't get it done, or is it everything surrounding Marner and Tavares that Toronto can't get it done? And everybody's feeling so negative, but at the end of the day, you actually can feel negative about 31 teams all the time, because there's only one parade. So all of the other forwards, all of the other defensemen and goalie on all of the other teams have in the end shown you their shortcomings. And only the champion has not shown you their shortcomings. So don't be unbelievably hard on these two guys for being part of that whole culture that can never get it done.
So there's a tweet that came in early this morning from Sid Sixero, who, of course, Tim and Sid for the longest time on television on Sportsnet.
Great
and I love Sid. I've known him for I love them both. I love Sid. I've known him for a long time, and he's very opinionated, I like them. And he sent out a tweet earlier this morning. I want to bring it up, okay? Mitch Marner, who's played most of his career with the best goal scorer of his generation, has won 100-point season. He lacks size, aggression, and maturity. Any organization that gives him a dime more than Mikko Rantanen will get what they deserve, which is nothing. At the time that I took a picture of this, look at that, 175,000 views, which was something. I'm sure it's got a lot more right now. There's a lot of truth in that tweet, okay? There's a lot of truth, all right? A lot of truth. But you said something minutes before, and you said, well, is it the chicken or the egg here? Is it that they don't win because of Tavares and or Marner? Or they don't win because they just as a team or as an organization don't have the mindset to be able to get it done and get this thing over the hump? I didn't like Marner in the playoffs. In the second round. I really didn't like him at all. And I like Mitch Marner as a player. It's hard not to, I think, in a way, when you think about that. In the 9 years that he was with the Toronto Maple Leafs, he was their leading point getter 5 times. But I really didn't like him in round 2 versus Florida. I really didn't like him at all. Between games 3 and 6, I think he had one shot or whatever it was. And he disappeared in many moments. There were really, really bad giveaways. There were missed defensive assignments. There was a lot not to like. But I think I got to bring this up because I thought about this all night last night, right? For everyone who says Marner's a loser, Marner can't get it done, Marner chokes under pressure, Marner doesn't know how to win big games, how do you explain him playing on a team with Sidney Crosby, with Connor McDavid, with Nathan McKinnon, with Cale Makar, and so many other incredible players, and being most responsible out of everyone to give Canada 2 wins in the Four Nations face-off. The first game of the tourney in Montreal versus Sweden, where it's he who scores the overtime winner. And the last game where he does not score the overtime winner, but he sets up the overtime winner. And I will tell you,
an amazing play.
And I will tell you, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that in that last game versus Team USA, when they won 3-2 in overtime, the 3 best Canada players on that night, in my opinion, were Sam Bennett, Mitch Marner, and Jordan Binnington. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if Marner's so much of a choker and can't get it done and not a playoff guy, how do people explain what he did at the Four Nations face-off back in the 3rd week of February? Can you explain it?
No, and like when you look at the course of Marner's entire career, you've got that Four Nations, and then you've got the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then what you got that he did in junior. And what he did in junior was phenomenal, right? So,
with London,
So where's the only issue? It's this culture in Toronto, and I think everybody scratches their head to try to figure out what is wrong with that culture. That when the going gets tough, they disappear. Why is the biggest game always their worst game? Like, is that Mitch Marner's fault? Like, every year? You know what I mean? Like, when I look at who's been the best forward over many, many series that we've watched, and only 2 occasions do they win a round, you're always left with Nylander seems like the best of the forwards, right?
Yeah.
And Matthews seems not Matthews. And it's hard to fathom how they do this year after year after year and have it be one guy's problem. It doesn't make sense that it's one guy's problem. It's everybody's. Like, it's what you expect from the greatest players that don't deliver. So who doesn't deliver? Well, Marner hasn't delivered. You're absolutely right. In that second round, he did not deliver. But he has delivered in the past, on Four Nations, as you said, which is a really great point, in juniors in London, which is a really great point, I think, as well. He's not like a guy who's always gone in the big game. He's played some really big, great games. Now, let's go back to Austin Matthews, though. What has he done in his career anywhere else? Did he shine just now in the Four Nations, Austin Matthews?
No, he did not. As a matter of fact, he was on the ice, and it was he who made a bad play selection, which was one of the reasons why Canada scored the goal. So, what does he do?
And then he was in Switzerland as before drafting, right?
He left arguably the best player in the world at the Four Nations alone in the slot in overtime.
Yeah. And so if I were to like to point fingers at one guy who's underachieving and who I can't find a great moment in his career in the big game, he racks them up goal-wise perfectly in the regular season.
He scored the game winner in Game 6, but other than that, and by the way, I would think it's a shot that Bobrovsky would want to have back. But other than that, he did absolutely not. Once again, I think it was a disappointing playoff for all of them. But yeah, the player who looked the most dangerous with the puck on his stick out of the core 4 for Toronto, out of Tavares, Marner, Nylander, and Matthews, was Nylander.
Always.
It was Nylander.
It's always Nylander. Every playoff, it's Nylander is the guy that seems to be the most dangerous.
It was a couple of years ago in that loss versus Boston that he was on the bench, and I think they were both chirping Marner at one point, be it Matthews, be it Nylander, but I think Nylander said something to, all you guys do is bitch.
Did he really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you got to see that audio clip. I got to get it for you.
I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah. They're on the bench, and the Nylander's on the right, Matthews is on the left, and Marner's in between them. And you can tell that they're both answering to Marner, but then Nylander gives him a shot, but it looks like he might be giving Matthews a shot too, because he says, all you guys do is bitch all the time.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, you don't really have to go any farther.
He said something like, just shut up and play.
Exactly. And there's your culture, right? There's your culture. Like somehow they don't like what the Canadians did this year with what they have was phenomenal. Like, I mean, the culture was great, and the Canadians went 16 points farther than Vegas thought they were going to do. They made the playoffs. All 5 games were competitive. Sure, they only won 1, but they could have won all 5. They were in all of them. It felt like guys were overachieving. It felt like guys were laying it out on the line like crazy, giving it all they had. We heard about all the injuries that they were suffering, but they played through. And then you have this team that's got so much talent and so much has been expected, and they simply cannot get it done. And as Matthew said, we had too many passengers. You know, like, dude, you were one of the worst of them.
But you know,
I don't think I'd want that player.
Yeah,
I can't find a moment that he was outstanding in a big game.
The best year that they had was the year they brought in Ryan O'Reilly. Remember that? Because, you know, they played 13 playoff games that year, or 11 playoff games that year, pardon me. And they were able to win a round. And I think Ryan O'Reilly had 9 points in 11 playoff games. And Marner had 14, and Nylander had 10, and Matthews had 11. Like, they all produced that year. So there was a year that was better than the others, which is the year they had Ryan O'Reilly. But it just goes to show you that when they brought in Ryan O'Reilly, they brought in Ryan O'Reilly in 2022, 2023. Ryan O'Reilly had won the Stanley Cup in 2019. Yeah. Does this team have enough players who have won the cup? Do they have that culture there? And I think there should be an exercise that should be done about, you know, the pressure environment that it is, because Brad Marchand was talking about that last night, and Paul Maurice and everyone throwing flowers at Toronto. Mind you, they're gentlemen. They should have never done that, because Toronto laid an egg yesterday. They completely stunk. They lost 6-1. The shot attempts in the first, I think at one point, Brian, the shot attempts were 21-0 for Florida in the first 10 minutes of the game. Come on, like that's a joke. Like, so, but then again, can you really say that the pressure, the expectations, considering that? Look at the Montreal Canadiens; they do well in the pressure.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they went to a final back in 2021. They went into a rebuild. They came out of the rebuild. They made the playoffs this year. They put up a fight. They lost in 5, but they're young. They're inexperienced. Anyway, you know what?
But Tony.
Yeah.
The question has to be asked, and this is a Montreal Canadiens podcast.
Let's do so.
We're looking at those guys right now, and let's break down what they bring to the game, and see if they might be interesting to Kent Hughes. Let's start
with John Tavares.
Okay.
John Tavares, you bring up his hockey DB. You see that he's a player, obviously, who put up huge numbers with the Oshawa Generals, and his final year of junior with the London Knights. Put up huge numbers in the regular seasons, put up huge numbers in the playoffs in junior hockey. Then he goes to New York Islanders, 54 points in his first season. That's great. A guy who was drafted first overall. 64 points in his second, 81. Switzerland, National Hockey League, lockout year, point per game. 66 points in 59 games, 86 points in 82 games, 70 points in 78 games, 66 points, 84 points, 88 points, 60 points, 50 points, 76 points, 80 points, 65 points. This year he put up 74 points, Brian, 74 points in 75 games. He is 34 years old. He's been in the National Hockey League since 2009, 2010. So he's about 14, 15 years into his career. And this guy is still putting up huge numbers. He signed an unrestricted free agency deal 7 years ago with Toronto that paid him $11 million a year. And now he's a pending unrestricted free agent as of July 1st. Your thoughts on John Tavares, who is a centerman, and Lord knows the Montreal Canadiens could use one.
Yeah, I think my first thought is when you look at that entire career there's a point per game player. I mean, he's like almost a guaranteed point per game player. And even this last year at the age of 34, not slowing down, a point per game player. He plays center. That's absolutely what the Montreal Canadiens need. He's already admitted that he doesn't expect to make as much as $11 million. He's ready to take a pay cut. There's going to be a complete dismissal by the fan base that he's not the right guy. But the Canadiens overall, I don't think they can. I mean, I know the fan base wants to say this, but I don't think the general manager can say this. The fan base says, no, we want a 25-year-old and we want him to have Stanley Cup experience and we want him to win some series and we want to get him for $7 million and we want him to lead the second line and we want it to be 7 years and we want him to choose Montreal. Well, none of that works, guys. None of that works. It doesn't happen. 25-year-olds don't settle for that kind of money. 25-year-olds aren't even unrestricted free agents yet, generally speaking. 25-year-olds don't have Stanley Cup experience already. You know what I mean? Like none of the things that everybody thinks that they want, and they're not settling for anything else, but those things do not exist in the real world. In the real world, John Tavares is one of the best options for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, not for ridiculous 7 years. He's 34 years old. And no one's going to throw him 7. But I bet you someone throws him 4. So now you're asking the question, 4 times 9. Is that a good deal for the Montreal Canadiens? And can they win that? Now, ordinarily, I would say, Tony, they can't win that because he wants to stay in Toronto. But does Toronto now say, listen, we've got to change the culture here. We've got to change something. We are not offering John Tavares anything. We need to regroup. We are not offering Mitch Marner anything. We need to regroup. The way that ended for them, 12 goals against at home in their last 2 games, with jerseys being thrown onto the ice, they can't run it back. They cannot run it back. And if they're not running it back, Marner and Tavares are free to go wherever they want because they're not getting good offers from Toronto. So now you're asking the question, and I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
4 times 9.
I'd really have to think about it. And I know that some people are probably going to be listening and or watching right now, and they're saying, hold on a second, this guy's never won anything in his career. Okay, I hear you.
And now we're back to chicken and egg.
There have been great players who have never won anything in their career, by the way. It doesn't make them less great, but I understand that everyone expects you to win a championship. Was he really with 2 organizations that knew how to win? Like, yeah, the New York Islanders had a winning pedigree back in the 80s when they won 4 Stanley Cups in a row, and they actually made it to a semifinal in 1993 versus the Canadiens. I get that, but, you know, wrong place, wrong time for John Tavares with the New York Islanders, and you know, during his tenure that he was captain, and there were a lot of shortcomings, but there was that year that they did well versus Tampa. I would hope that the Toronto Maple Leafs don't think that John Tavares is the problem in Toronto, because at this stage of his career, at 34 years of age, he's supposed to be a complimentary player. He's not supposed to be the guy that's supposed to carry this team on his back. Anyway, I'm going to answer your question in a second. Not before I talk to you about Accident Insurance Solutions. You know, all insurance isn't created equal. You know where to find the right solution for you. Accident Insurance. Accident doesn't sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product right on the money. Whatever your insurance needs, home, automobile, or business, call 514-363-3636 or visit their website, www.accentassurance.com. Who's going to win the semis in the National Hockey League? Go all the way with Betway. Get a free bet up to $200. If your first bet loses, scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. Brian, I've been thinking about this one for a while. I'm going to answer your question now. If the Montreal Canadiens want to make a trade, the way we're hearing that they do, and want to get a player who's got his best years ahead of him, and is still going to be at mid-20s, and you'll be able to have him for a long time. I don't know who that player is, Brian, and I would imagine they're going to have to give up a lot to get him, because I would imagine a team that has that player doesn't want to give him up. So I'm starting to wonder if a Band-Aid solution for 3 to 4 years to give someone like a Michael Hage or a plan B in the meantime to come up is not the answer for the Montreal Canadiens. And therein lies the whole thing with Tavares, that if he doesn't sign with Toronto, not because he doesn't want to, because, by the way, he made it clear today that he'd like to be back. Let's hear from John Tavares.
It meant everything to me. You know, it was a big decision I made 7 years ago, and I've loved it. It's been amazing for myself and my family. So, just accept responsibility. We haven't been able to come through and play well enough to get to where we want to get to. And unfortunately, our season ending today.
Would you like to be back?
Yes.
There you have it. Would you like to be back? Yes. I don't expect him to say no, but if he didn't want to be back, he could say, let's just see what happens here. By the way,
that was definitive.
The way Mitch Marner said, we'll see what happens here when he was asked about his future in Toronto. Marner is gone. You would have to think, unless he's playing like an incredible game of poker that they play at Playground, he's gone. So now, Brian, there's two things here. If John Tavares says, you know what, I'd like to be back at Toronto, but hey, at the same time, I got a bunch of teams that are offering me $9 million. I'm sorry, I'm not staying for 5.5.
Right.
Or John Tavares and his family say, we made all the money in the world. We're in Ontario. We're home. We're in Toronto. This is where we want to be. Family's here. Family's most important. We want to settle down. We don't want to pack our bags. We don't want to move. Let's take the hometown discount. And Tavares might go to the team and say, listen, I'm taking the hometown discount. On the market, I can get $9 million from X amount of teams. My agent's already telling me. But I'm going to sign at 5.5. Or I'm going to sign for 5, and with the other 4 or 5.5, that you're saving on me, go out and get another player. And if Marner goes, well, with the money that he was making, go out and try and get 2 other players. So if Tavares says I'm staying for the hometown discount, in my opinion, he's staying in Toronto. We agree?
Yes, for sure.
If Tavares says, hey, I'd love to stay here, but there's X amount of teams that are offering me a 4-year deal at $9 million a year, and the Montreal Canadiens are one of them, or should the Montreal Canadiens be one of them? For me, this is what I struggle with the most, Brian, in answering the question, is that internal pay structure that you have with Suzuki, but I guess you might have to throw it out the window because the cap is
I don't
going
struggle
up
with
every
that
year.
at all.
You don't struggle with it at all, eh?
Not even slightly.
And I shouldn't struggle with it because I would imagine
Suzuki
Suzuki
struggle
won't.
with it, Tony. You shouldn't struggle with it because basically what you're almost saying to Nick himself, like, we're not going to get you a winner, Nick. Basically, right? Because we don't want anybody else to get more money than you, but the cap's gone up so much, but we don't want to insult you. So you're going to be with a lousy team forever. Because if we're going to get good players, they cost more than you. So, I mean, like, caps go up. Nick took his security. It was great when he did it. He's going to never have to work again after he finishes playing hockey if he doesn't want to. That's fantastic for Nick. But to build a hockey team, you can't feel bad that Nick's not going to be the highest paid player.
I hear you.
It's just like the cap.
Well, I'm gonna answer your question then. And you know what? This is going to go all around the place. I don't think John Tavares is the reason why Toronto lost. I think there's an organizational problem. I think there's a psychological problem. I think there's a mentality problem. I think there's a culture problem. Yep. And I think one man alone cannot fix all of that. So
one man alone can't be blamed for it completely either.
I would be in on John Tavares if the Maple Leafs did not want to give him the money that he wants. I would be in on the discussions for sure. I'd be interested.
Right, because let's do what comes next. Obviously, if you're Kent Hughes, the general manager, and he's looking at the UFA chart July 1.
Yes.
And that's naturally the job, right? He's finished looking at the RFAs and he realizes, he can't get any of those. Then he tries to trade and he realizes he also can't get any of those either. Like, that's pie in the sky stuff. It happens. He tried it with Kirby Dach. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He tried it with Alex Newhook. It didn't work. I mean, it's been okay, but they haven't hit the goals that why he tried it for, right? He tried it with Carrier. It worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So, I mean, like, they're all gambles. Like, you're only getting the player because somebody else doesn't like him. Right? Like, you only got Kirby Dach because the other guys didn't like him. And you were hoping he would find the status that made him the 3rd pick overall. But, unluckily for him, at his best hockey, he suffered a major injury that he still has not recovered from. So, and we know the goal. It's a second-line center. And it's not coming with a trade very easily. It's not coming with RFA at all. Like, you're not going to be able, with the cap going as high as it is. You're not stealing guys like Dylan Holloway and Broberg last year. It's not happening this year. Not with the cap doing what it's doing. They're just going to.
He came in at 17th among points for centerman. Okay, the same amount of
Suzuki
points.
was like.
Suzuki came in at 6th. Okay, but John Tavares came in at 17th. All right, the same amount of points as Sebastian Aho. He played 4 less games. All right, but in that top 17 list, there's a bunch of players that played many games on wing. Leon Draisaitl is one of them. Okay,
right.
Martin Nikash is another. Okay, Sam Reinhart is another, and Jake Gensel is another, who are listed as centermen, but played wing a lot. Okay.
So now we're at 13.
So now we're at around 13. So anyone who's going to say you'd be in on John Tavares at a point per game at age 34 on a 4-year deal or less, who, by the way, plays about 19 minutes a game, who could take some real tough minutes off of Suzuki and make him breathe more, who can make everyone on that second line better, and who will become the Montreal Canadiens probably the best face-off guy at 58.3%, and give you a left-handed shot at center. I'm in all day, every day, without giving up a player in return. If he goes to unrestricted free agency, I'm in all day, every day.
You got convinced. You got convinced during the half hour, didn't you?
I'm in all day, every day, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "He never won anything." Well, he's probably
so
not
did
in the wrong
97% of the league, Tony. 97% of the league never won anything.
Yeah.
There's only one parade, man, as Brian Burke used to say.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, let's get to Mitch Marner, and let's do the same exercise with Mitch Marner, and let's bring up his numbers.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's wrap up that Tavares with. Imagine him with Demidov. Oof.
Okay, Tavares.
I can do it.
We got to keep. This is important, okay? Because when Jeff Gordon said at the end of the year, when asked about a centerman to bolster the second line, he said that nowadays there are wingers that are play drivers. Okay, this guy is one of them. I know he wasn't in the playoffs in the second round, but he is. Take a look at the point totals. Right. Take a look at the amount of assists. 75 assists for a winger is a play driver. All right, he's a play driver. Kucherov is a play driver. Kaprizov is a play driver. Patty Kane in his best years was a play driver. So 9 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs, 5 times their leading point getter in the regular season, 13 points in 13 playoff games this year, 3-7 the year before, 14 and 11 the year before, 6-7 the year before, 4-7 the year before, 4-5 the year before. Pardon me. Yeah. 4 and what was it? 5 the year before, 4-7, 9-7, 70 games in the playoffs, 63 points. So he's
check
not
out
terrible.
The plus minus too. It's strong throughout. And then I'm going to ask you to look at what's that little symbol after St. Michael's? Oh, is that a trophy? What's that little symbol after the London Knights?
Well, he won a championship with St. Michael's, and he won a championship with London Knights. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, we're saying this guy's not a winner. He's got a trophy in the lower level, tier 2. Then he's got a trophy in tier 1 juniors for the London Knights, and then he's one of the best players at the Four Nations.
And he's going to be a top 5 pick when they put together for the team for the Canadian team for the Olympics next year.
And he's 28 years of age. So again, it's like, he didn't do anything. He didn't come through. But you got to remember that on the fan base right now too, there's this built-in hatred of anything Toronto, and these guys are all bums. Yeah, because we love to hate them anyway.
Is that safe to say, by the way, that when they put down their list next year for the Canadian Olympic team, that the first 5 names that'll go out on that piece of paper, that he'll be one of them? I might be
McKinnon, McDavid,
Makar.
They're the first 3 that come to mind.
Yes. And we know Crosby's going to be on it, obviously, but
Crosby. Yeah, I think it's fair to say he'd be number 5. Yeah, I would. I mean, he had 102 points, guys. He had 100. Everybody watching right now, he had 102 points. That's a big number. He's a great hockey player.
Is he what the Canadians need at this point in time? A winger who doesn't play big, doesn't play
big.
strong,
That's important.
doesn't play tough, doesn't have a gritty game.
Important.
Is that what they need at this time? They need his 100 points, but do they need everything else that comes with it?
Well, we're back to what we started with, and that's what a general manager does, is the chicken and the egg thing. Is he the responsible one, or did everything happen around him? It's impossible to answer that. Like, you only look at how somebody did when he was the best player for the London Knights in that championship.
Like, how would he do it?
That's not nothing. When Caden Gooley made it all the way to the Memorial Cup, he was the Edmonton Oil Kings' best player. I watched every game. He was phenomenal. You could see he was going to be a great NHLer, Caden Gooley, off of that run to the Memorial Cup for Edmonton.
Let's bring up a graphic, Austin Matthews on Mitch Marner. He's like a brother to me and to all of us. So we have other graphics, I think. Pretty blunt about how he was feeling after Game 7. Sadness, depression, all of it. You're never happy to hear that. We have anything else? And that's it. When asked about, what's going to happen here, he said, well, we'll have to wait and see. It sounds like he's gone, Brian. A guy that was making $10.9 million a year, Brian.
Yeah, and remember, too, Tony, he was asked at the trading deadline to waive his no trade clause. And he would not do it. He said no. So, and then now he's asked about it, and he's not negotiating at all. I mean, this is a guy where we talk about Tavares. He probably wants to take a discount. We're just wondering how big a discount is Toronto going to ask him to take, and that basically decides Tavares' future, like you said so well. If they're asking for $5 million a year, he's not taking that. But
how much?
If it's only $2,
how much do you think he's going to get paid in the end?
Who, Mitch or John?
Mitch Marner.
Well, he's like, the crazy thing is, people are saying he wants $13 million, right?
Yeah. Would you give him $13 million if you're the Canadiens?
Oh, no. I couldn't give him $13 million.
So we're in on Tavares. We're out on Marner. Is that it?
I think that's where I would be. Yeah.
And that's
because
the way
$13 million, that's hamstringing, right? It's hard to build. Like, if you're going to try to build a hockey team and you're Kent Hughes, you're not hamstrung by $9 million for Tavares for 4 years as a stopgap until Michael Hage arrives. But you are hamstrung by $13 million, especially when he's a winger. You
could probably get 2 players at 6.5, but that'll probably be another discussion for another day. This is the way we're going to end the Sick Podcast tonight. If John Tavares wants a 4-year deal or less, we're in on Tavares if we're the Canadiens. If Mitch Marner's looking for $13 million in unrestricted free agency, if we're the Canadiens,
7 years,
we're out. Thanks for watching, everyone. He's Brian Wilde. I'm Marinaro. It's the Sick Podcast. Ciao for now.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.